Okay, today I'm going to be showing you how to wire up your Garmin Sat Nav to your battery. I've already done a video on how to access the battery on my FZ6 as it's under the tank. But if you're doing this with what I call a normal bike where the battery's under your seat, that's a lot easier to access. But what I'm going to show you that's different to that video is because the lead from my Garmin, if you see here, so I've got my positive and negative leads there, but they don't have these O-ring connections on them already, so we're going to have to crimp them on. And if you wanted, you could just crimp these style of connectors on just to the end of these leads. That would work fine. What I'm going to be doing a little bit differently to my last video is I've already done this one. So this lead here is going to connect to the battery, and we're going to effectively connect these wires here to this little connector. So what we can do is this will just plug into that. So let's say I change bikes in the future and I just want to take the sat nav off without accessing the battery. I can just plug it out and I can interchange this connection without having to access the battery, just redo this bit and swap out devices as I want. So the bits that I'm going to need are all in the picture here. So this is the connector that's going to plug into this end, and then these two things here. So I'm going to be crimping, if I can grab that, crimping these wires onto these connectors. These bits provide a waterproof seal. That, I suppose that's another reason why I'm doing a connection like this way. It's going to be more watertight. But these bits go onto the wire and provide a waterproof seal in the back of this end. So let's say it's raining heavily or you're washing the bike, water gets in, it's not going to get in this connection right here. So that's what I'm going to be doing. You can sort of see on the one I've done already, these bits are those bits there, and this bit, I don't know if you can see, but sort of poking through. There you go. So that's what we're going to be doing. So these two mate up. So the last thing I've got, is my crimping tool. It's also got a wire stripper. So I'm going to have to strip these wires. If you look at them, at the minute they're sort of soldered in. So I'm going to strip them so I'll get the bare wire, which will make it easier to crimp into this device here. So that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, so the first job is to pop these yellow connectors, push them onto the wires. You're going to want them, where's my other side? So you're going to want them going that way. You can see that way onto the wire, pushing. And I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. Okay, so they're on. You can see what they are. Just push them far back because we're going to strip the wire next. And we obviously don't want to cut them. So the next job is to strip the wire. So get your wire strippers. And you just clamp on the wire. Gently pull it off to expose the metal and the plastic. So I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. So as you can see, I've stripped off long length that wire. In terms of how much I've kind of gone for that length, so it's going to fit all along the way of this connector. So when I crimp it, everything that contacts the crimp here will be metal. So I'll go and do the other one now, and then I'll show you how to crimp. Okay, so now I've got the wire stripped. I'm going to crimp it into this connector. So this is the female connector. If you see the one that has already been done, if you can see that, let me pop some light on it. There you go. So you can see that's the male connector. So that's going to insert into this end, the female connector. So we need to crimp our sat nav. The wire's going to the sat nav, over there. They're going to get crimped on there. So I'll show you how to do that. Basically, we're going to insert that wire into this end, and then take our crimping tool here and make the crimp to effectively squash these sticky out bits there onto the wire, so it's got a secure fit. Now you're gonna probably have to do it quite a few times. If the wire's loose, keep on crimping, keep going at different angles until it's locked in there tight. Okay, so that one has been crimped in, and I've soldered it for good measure because I didn't get the best crimp, I don't think. But I'm happy that, you know, giving that a little tug, that's not going anywhere. So now that one is in, I've just got to do my other negative cable, and then good to go. Okay, so both female connectors have been soldered on. There we go. So next step is to put them in this end. Now make sure that your positive and negative are mating with the corresponding positive negatives on the other cable. So what I've done to help me here is the positive lead here, I've just put a bit of red electrical tape on, so I know that when I make this into there, my positive is on the right side, so my positive is going to go through here, my negative is going to go through here. So these will just insert through a large end, pop them in there, and then I've got like these red connector things that will pop over the end here, and that'll secure it. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so the female connectors are in there. I just thought I'd show you before I put the red clips on. So they sort of push through there. So when we pop the male one in, it's going to mate and go into that hole there. So I'll pop the red clips on, and they should connect together after that. Okay, so the red clips back on. Push the waterproof connectors there into it. So now it's ready to mate up with this, and it's just a case of lining that up. My expert camera skills, and then that just pushes in. So yeah, that is connected now. So all that's left to do is to connect it to the battery. So just unscrew your positives and your negatives, take off your negative cable first on your battery, then your positive. Then when you're reconnecting, put your positive wire in first, screw that in, and afterwards put your negative in. So it's always the reverse when you reconnect. So if you want to see that, you can watch the video of me fitting my USB connector. It shows you a bit in more detail, but I'll show you how it all looks when it's connected to the battery next. The other thing that I might do, actually, incidentally, just pop a bit of electrical tape on the end here. I've got these waterproof seals, and it should hold the wires in place. Touch wood, but it just, gives an extra bit of security there. Why not? Rather than it come loose and I have to reconnect it again. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, and hopefully it powers up the sat nav. We'll see. Okay, so see there, I've connected to the positive first, and then I've connected to the negative. You can see this is the USB one that I did before. Check that that's still working. I'm not picking that up. Yeah, that's perfect. And now the moment of truth is the sat nav is wired in and it's upside down. But theoretically now this should power on. So hit the power button and bingo, it is on. So yeah, all I've got to do now is I've got my RAM mount, so I need to mount it onto that. Simple. But my next job really is to, I've got all this because the battery on the FZ6 is here. Most things got longer wires because they're designed to route all the way back to the seat, because that's where your battery is going to be. So I'd have to route the wire. Normally, if you've not got an FZ6 or something that has a twin exhaust under here, your battery would normally be here, so you'd be routing the wire. I always used to do it onto the side bit here and into the seat. As it happens here, I've now got a load of excess wire, so what I've got to do is tidy that up, and then basically put the bike back together. So pop the tank back down. You can see here I've had to prop it up, pop it down, screw everything back on, put the fairings back on, and then I'm good to go. Just got to make sure that this is all nice and tidy, and things don't fall off. So yeah, that is how you would wire a sat nav to here. It would be the same on any bike. It's not exclusive to my bike. And yeah, the way I did it, obviously I've got a connector that I can just unplug now. So if I wanted to put something else in without touching the battery, I can just crimp some female connectors on, and plug something else in. Let's say I wanted to take the sat nav off for a bit, I was going to use something else. I was going to use my phone. Didn't want it clogging up my dashboard. I could just unplug it without touching the battery. So that's nice. Alternatively, if you want it as more of a permanent thing, you just follow the steps. You just kind of want to get one of these connectors here. Show you that. Same process. Pop the wire inside, crimp it down. Ideally so that's your positive one for your positive cable, that's your negative one. All you do, put the wires in, crimp them on, and then just connect them to the corresponding positive and negative batteries. Bit simpler to do, but it's a more permanent option. So yeah, hope that all makes sense. I know it's a simple thing to do, but I'm just trying to document everything that I'm doing to this bike, because I'm quite a novice when it comes to it, and I'm sure there's many people who are novices like me and just kind of want to do baby steps to start working on their bike, and start, getting into it, because it's good fun, sense of accomplishment that you can do stuff on your own. I'm going to cover other stuff, hopefully, down the line, how to service it. So change your oil filter, change your air filter. That's under here on my bike. So basic stuff like that anyone can do, as long as you've got a set of basic tools, and you can do it, save some money on servicing costs. And then also, if you've done it, you'll know it's been done correctly, meticulously, and to the standard you're happy with. So cheers for watching, guys. Look out for my other videos. I'll hopefully be doing some riding on a bike. I've just got my setup now for the camera, so I should be able to do that. Some reviews of things like my Beeline Moto there. I'll review that in comparison with a standard bike sat nav versus your phone, the USB connector, see how well that holds up, other stuff like that. If there's anything that you kind of want reviewed or specific to my bike, if you let me know, just comment on the videos and I'll see what I can do and see if I can put something together. Okay, everything is back together now, bar the right side fairing. I'm just gluing the nut side of it back in, as that was not attached when I took the fairing off, but left-hand fairing's on. Wiring wise, I've run the wires up through the centre here where I've got a gap, and I've run the USB wire up around the back and through this wiring harness, so no loose wires. And when I did my sat nav, I have run the wire up here and up just on the inside of the fork, so nice and tight, nothing's going anywhere. In terms of bike specific, with the sat nav where I had a very long lead, I was unable to sort of stash that in here with the battery, so what I had to do is run the wire down the side of the tank here, and I've got it, bit of electrical tape, I've got it under the seat, next to my toolkit, so it's just out of the way there. So yeah, if I need to unplug the sat nav, unplug the two connectors there, I can actually take it off the whole bike without actually lifting the tank, so that's worked out quite nicely. In terms of the fairing, a bit fiddly to get back on, even just getting it back in place, because the fairing that sits up, the fairing that comes off sits inside the outer fairing, and to get everything to line up, initially I put this bolt back in first, and then I couldn't get these two here to sort of line up on the fairing, it wouldn't work. So what I found worked best is I put the screw on the mirror in first, so that was just holding it generally in place. And then I lined up these two, put this one in loosely, and then this one here, get that in focus, yeah, this one here, I lined that up. Now you've got to, and then I screwed that one in tight, then I put this one back in, and finally did this bolt here. Now on the side that is not back in yet, I'll show you what I mean about the lower fairing. Now you've got this bit here, so when you pop the fairing back on, get this the right way around, so this bit here, there, so that bit, that has to sit in between these two, then you pop the screw in. Initially I stupidly tried to get it behind there, because I was too stupid not to take a photo of what it looked like before I took it apart. It's the first time that I've been working on this bike. But yeah, I figured it out eventually, but just a tip. So the inner fairing goes in between there, and then you screw that in. So yeah, hopefully I'll get that bit, once that's glued back in, I'll be able to get the full fairing on, take it out for a ride. Cheers guys.